And back of me is the United States Capitol building with the famous dome. And that dome was based on the dome of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. And it took a few years to restore it and renovate it, but now there's no more scaffolding. It basically looks brand new. And did you know that in the War of 1812, aside from the White House being burned down by the British, they also partially burned down the Capitol building. So the Capitol building is where the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress meet and determine and pass laws, basically. So on a side note, this is probably, I would say, my 6th time to Washington, D.C. over the years. I first came here in 1966 as a young lad, and here's a picture of me in 1966. The cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol building was laid by President George Washington in 1793, and the building was completed in 1800. It was partly destroyed in the 1814 burning of Washington by the British, then was fully restored within 5 years. The building was later enlarged with the addition of the massive dome and extended wings with expanded chambers for the House of Representatives and the Senate. Like many other governmental buildings in Washington, D.C., the Capitol is built in neoclassical style and has a white exterior. Pierre Charles L'Enfant, who was chosen to design the city of Washington, D.C. by George Washington, was expected to design the Capitol, but he was fired in 1792 because he refused to cooperate with the commissioners of the federal buildings. A competition to design the Capitol building was suggested by Thomas Jefferson and President George Washington, but none of the 17 plans submitted were accepted. Even though the competition was already closed, Dr. William Thornton, a Scottish-trained physician living in the British West Indies, requested an opportunity to submit his plan. President Washington approved his plan, and it was accepted by the commissioners. Thornton lacked experience, so the initial work went on under the direction of 3 different architects. In 1803, construction resumed under Benjamin Henry Latrobe, who completed the south and north wings. By 1813, Latrobe left because his job was completed. On August 24, 1814, British troops set fire to the building during the War of 1812. A rainstorm prevented its complete destruction, and Latrobe returned to Washington in 1815 to make repairs. He then changed the building's interior design and brought in new materials such as marble. Latrobe then resigned in November 1817 because of construction delays and increasing costs. Charles Bulfinch, a Boston architect, was appointed Latrobe's successor in January 1818. Continuing the restoration, he was able to make the chambers of the Senate and House ready for use by 1819. Bulfinch redesigned the central section, making the dome even higher. In 1856, the old dome was removed and work began on a replacement with a new fireproof cast iron dome. Construction was suspended in 1861 so that the Capitol could be used as a military barracks, hospital, and bakery for the Civil War. However, in 1862, construction resumed because Lincoln believed that the Capitol must go on just as the Union must go on. The work was completed in 1868. After a fire in November 1898, the need for fireproofing became evident. Elliott Wood saw to the reconstruction and fireproofing of the damaged wing. The East Front extension added 102 more rooms from 1959 to 1960. The stonework was also changed from sandstone to Georgia marble during the process. After a public protest of further plans to expand in the 1970s, the plans were dismissed and the vote went to restore rather than enlarge the West Front. Since then, primary emphasis has been on strengthening, renovating, and preserving the building. From 2013 to 2016, restoration of the dome of the United States Capitol building was done at a cost of $59.5 million. It was the first full restoration of the dome since 1959. More than 1,000 cracks were repaired, and interior and exterior decorations were scraped, cleaned, and restored, and 1,215 gallons of paint were used to repaint the exterior.